People who fix computers for a living. What is the weirdest thing you've found on someone's computer? The weirdest thing I found in someone's PC was a group of like 5-6 lizards that were living in the case. Cold-blooded creatures found a warm box to live in. It was going great till one of them peed on the graphics card and shorted the card, killing it and the lizard. A semi-truck track racing website wherein the individual I was assisting was logged into a paid premium account. I looked it up and it's something like $20 per month to access unlimited live streams of competitive semi-truck track racing. I'm used to finding ducked up porn. That's pretty commonplace. But I've never met anyone into competitive semi-truck racing to a point where they'd pay monthly to watch it. A folder filled with photos all labeled with dates just of what seemed like the same weird pigeon crossbreed or something. It was the lifespan basically of this bird. I was absolutely stunned. I only looked through the folder cause he said he'd be okay with me factory resetting the PC, as long as I saved this one file. There were so many photos, like a picture a week for like a maximum of 5-6 years. Had to throw it on 2 of the USBs we had due to the sheer amount of photos. Not a computer, but I used to repair printers for a small company in Southern California. Most of the time I'd get calls to offices to service their workhorse printers. But occasionally I'd get a call to a private residence or home office. A woman greeted me at the door of this particular private residence call and walked me into her office to take a look at her inkjet printer. On the way through the house, I noticed that the woman's dress matches the decor of the house. Magenta top and black pants. Then I noticed that everything in the house matches. But there are only 3 colors: black, white, and magenta. She takes me into the home office, where she explained that she was concerned her printer was infested. I responded along the lines of infested? By what? Do you suppose? Her response? Dust mites. Printer wouldn't power up. So I asked if she had the manual for the printer. She did. And proceeded to open a drawer, pull out one of about 3 dozen plastic bags in said drawer, and pull out the printer manual from within. Every document this lady had was in a plastic bag. She was pathologically afraid of dust mites. I took one more look at the printer and was easily able to tell what happened after looking inside it and seeing large discolored areas. She had set off a bug gum inside her printer to try to kill whatever dust mites may have been in it. Recommended new printer. Many years ago now. Was copying over person's pictures to a hard drive as she requested before it was to be rebuilt. I wasn't looking at the screen but glanced over to see the progress, and that's when I saw dozens of photos of this woman's vibrator. Nothing sexual. Just had it in various places. The weirdest was seeing it in bed and covered up and tucked in with just the tip poking out on a pillow. She was embarrassed as duck. Her face as red as a tomato, and all I could say was it's okay. I see weirder things all the time. This is nothing. I never told anybody at work about it. Worked for a school district when I was younger, and one of the kids put gum inside of one of the lab computers. Okay, not strange for high schoolers, but the gum drew in so many ants that the machine lit on fire and caught a cabinet it was right next to on fire. Co-worker with a business laptop. I had to clean everything, wipe it. My boss told me to take all the files and put them on a HDD. Over 100 naked selfies with his shaft out for some gay dating websites. I never looked at him in the eyes ever again. The employee was over 64 yo. He got fired the same day. He was using the laptop to go on the kind of free live webcam websites during his shift. He was jerking off and using the laptop at work for those websites. 4 years. Gross. Used to do desktop repair at my uni for students. Dude brings in a laptop that won't boot. Tried to power it and instantly overheats and kills power. Pulled it apart and there was a peanut in the fan blocking it. Didn't make a sound till we flipped it. Another time an elderly woman came in. Said Windows 8 was broken and wanted to upgrade to Windows 7. So I go through my process of checking why it's broken. Ran a scan and found 2,200 malware infected files and potentially unwanted programs. Pups. She stops back by in to check in. I have her test it. It's faster but still broken apparently. Create image. Installed 7. Kept the password the same. And all is well. 2 months later get a call, it's not working. Apparently she didn't use it for 2 months and forgot the password. By far the worst though is the time someone brought a tower in and it was coated with cigarette smoke and cat urine. We said no. A friend of mine in college, knowing I was studying computer engineering, frantically contacted me one Saturday morning because of trouble with his laptop. He sheepishly revealed after arriving at my place that he had drunkenly passed out mid-jerk in his bed while watching porn on some sketchy websites. He had awoken to his laptop locked on a screen with an FBI warning, which stated he had been caught accessing illegal pornographic material, and which also included a screenshot of his horny drunken face in the center of the screen. The warning demanded he contact some number or otherwise the authorities would arrest him. Since the laptop was provided by the school, he was too embarrassed to go to the school given the circumstances. So he asked if I could remove the virus. It was a bit tricky to remove since rebooting would just return directly to this warning screen. I ultimately had to reboot Windows into safe mode and that bypassed the warning screen. Then I just had to do a backup restore to an earlier day. To this day, though, my friend considers me a computer wizard for sparing him the shame of sharing with the school at his drunken jerk-off face embedded to an FBI virus scam screen. A lady ordered an in-home service call because she broke her computer's foot pedal. When I got there, this very nice older lady asked me to fix the foot pedal. But it turns out it was her son's computer. She was house sitting for him and had decided to give the internet a try for the first time. Being of an older generation, she had assumed that the mouse should be placed on the floor and operated with her foot because that was how her sewing machine worked! We both had a good laugh and I replaced his mouse with a slightly newer model. He did CAD and had a nicer many buttoned mouse. My boss even replaced it under warranty. Not because it was covered but because he thought it was too funny not to acknowledge. Not really the weirdest but the most shocking, I guess. Dad needed help finding something on his laptop. Out of curiosity I did a virus scan since I doubted he ever did it himself. 64 viruses. I ran malwarebytes on an older guy's PC and found 204 items. He told me he only ever used it for internet radio and a few pictures sent to him from his kids over email. The cookie list told me otherwise. I didn't say anything OFC, but there was a few pages of porn sites. A modern PC having a Windows 95 as a main OS. Fun fact, I do it for the military. We have roughly 10 brand new machines with 30 inches high-end monitors and GTX 1060 graphics cards, all running XP to support the needed and not upgrade compatible programs. Edit, let me clear up the muck a little. The base program is Win 10. They boot a Win 10 splash screen and have the capability to run Win 10 drivers, but after the splash screen it's all XP from then on. This is not VMware. It's a specific image built this way to run all the loaded software and it's the only software on it. No IE. No Microsoft Office. Nothing extra. This way all the programs function properly and it plays well with the Red Hat Linux machines it talks to. I worked help desk in college and people would drop off their computer. One day my buddy and I started our shift and turned on a computer waiting for repair. We went to look at something else while it booted. But we knew when it was ready because suddenly, from the speakers I heard skibbity wop bat doobity doop. It was the scat man. The full video. In the Windows startup folder. But friend of one. My friend fixes computer for the college we both go to. The computers are for use of every student. So it's not rare to see that some bored student broke a CD reader port cover or something. We were at classes. Using the computers. My friend had one of these computers with a CD reader port cover broken. He decides to stand up. And while standing up he was looking at the CPU. He stands up. And says, wait, what? He opens up the computer. And he found bread. Some bored student decided to hide bread inside a computer. I work for a managed services provider. I had to remote into a user's personal laptop one time to help her set up her VPN connection while she was on the phone with me. She was using Windows 8, which has the live tiles on the start menu. One of them was her pictures gallery, which was cycling through nude, provocative pictures of her. But what the hey? This is her personal computer and she's welcome to keep her nudes on there if she pleases. I did my best to pretend that I hadn't seen anything and continued about my business, avoiding the start menu when possible. This was years ago, Y2K, but still. Some dude had 3 external hard drives full of pictures of himself posed with badly photoshopped celebrities doing ridiculous things, like eating pizza or shooting at targets. It was so weird. Made me kind of uncomfortable around him. IMHO. 1. Girl had 10 plus antiviruses active on startup and would constantly try to heal each other exempt 2 or 3. She'd show and was an easy fix tbh. 2. Found a moth living on top of her HDD. 3. Found ants in a few school computers during my day. I was working the Genius bar when this dude came in. I opened his Mac and there was a maximized window with a high-res photo of his big dick. He was like 65 years old. I still have nightmares. I worked for a company whose CEO liked to exchange pornographic emails with his girlfriend. Great for them. However, it was my job to monitor the spam filter. Every hardcore email they wanted to send had to be reviewed, approved, and released by yours truly. It was a fun morning ritual the 3 of us shared. I found mice and a snake in my tower once. We used to live in a shitty house that was falling apart and also our town is surrounded by fields. Mice come inside for warmth, followed by snakes wanting the mice. After fixing them for a while, nothing is really weird anymore. I had one lady that was mad because she had a folder in her documents that the files weren't showing the icons like they should. What were these icons, you ask? She was making shortcuts to all her favorites hamster video web pages. I think it was hamster. You know, like porn videos. Regardless, she had shortcuts to 100s of videos. I guess that isn't too strange. But calling someone and explaining this issue and talking with them on the phone while they work on it is, to me at least. Or just not bookmarking the site like normal people. The resolution was to rebuild her icon cache if that's of interest to you. Bonus story. Another lady calling claimed to be a fortune teller or something and was convinced because of my deep voice that I moonlit as a phone 6 person. I didn't. Had a client at a previous job who specifically looked up underage and grape porn, and tried to defend it by saying he was studying how women reacted to grape while being graped. As soon as he tried to show his research, I cut off the remote screen share, noted his account, and followed site protocol. Dunno what happened to him, but I left work right after that call to go home because I was so disgusted. I had a guy come into our help desk with his MacBook Pro. He had run a virus scan for himself since he said his computer was running a little slow. He showed me the scanning progress and I shit you not, I was almost unable to grab the scroll bar, the list of viruses was so large. We ended up having to send it to our security team because the guy had confidential info on his computer. Candle wax. The guy had been having a bad day and just wanted some candles burning and chill zen music. Until his table with the laptop and all of the candles on it collapsed, completely coating the innards and exterior of the laptop in wax. We managed to salvage everything on the hard disk by switching it on. Miraculous that it still switched on. Using it to transfer data for 15 minutes and then switching it back off for a while in a cold room so the wax never got back to liquid state. That was a weird day. I've worked in it for many years. One man brought in a very dirty laptop that was having issues powering down randomly. I took and back opened the disk tray and 20 or so Beatles come running out. I called to let the gentleman know we couldn't work on his computer because of that and he would need to pick it up. His response was, I told you it had bugs. Other one would have to be a girl who came in who needed her photos transferred from her old computer to her new one. We had to verify the photos transferred with the client, so she opens up her pictures and it's just tons of hand-drawn hentai pictures of her ducking Digimon with strap-ons. Vomit. He told me it kept restarting after he spilled something on it. He had attempted to clean it, but after I powered it on, the smell started becoming worse. I'm pretty sure he threw up on it. That smell is very distinct. Don't fix computers or anything, but I have a story of finding disturbing shit on a computer. My older brother's then fiance had some pretty serious medical issues about 15 or 20 years back. She would have seizures and it wasn't really safe for her to be home by herself. Most of the time when my brother had to work, one of her younger sisters or her mom would sit with her, as they had been staying in a studio located in the basement of her mother's house. One day, no one was really available to sit with her, so her dad came over. Her mother and father were divorced. As my brother was getting ready to leave for work, her dad asked if it was okay if he used his laptop while he was gone, and my brother said sure. The next day he noticed he had a shit ton of viruses and everything, and in an attempt to save his computer, came across some child porn that had been accessed during the hours he was at work. I was always really surprised that they never reported it, and am even more surprised they allow him around the children they now have. I don't really have anything to do with my brother, but sometimes they will tag my mom in Facebook photos they post, and anytime I see that dude in a picture with nieces and nephew, I want to hurl. If you're a professional, you don't go through private stuff. Even if it's a business computer at work, you're neither supposed to go through somebody's private stuff, nor is it legal in some countries. That said, the weirdest thing I've ever encountered was a browsing history full of porn sites. Employees are generally allowed to have a folder named private or similar, and the guys are not allowed to look into it. It might be a work computer and the property of the company, but that doesn't mean there's no right to privacy. US law is probably different though. Bullets, shield casings and actual bullets, and a giant dead spider. I used to fix and re-image computers for a military contract when I first started my career, and had lots of weird stuff show up, but the best was a bullet-riddled tower and inside a giant camel spider. Reason stated for return that it suddenly stopped working. Used the dead spider then to scare the hell out of my co-workers. Good times. She complained that she could not find her files even though she saved them to My Documents. I found the My Documents folder inside a 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 My Documents folder. Evidently, every time she had her computer reloaded or the OS upgraded, she would copy her My Documents folder into the next new My Documents folder. Had to collapse the whole mess, and she said I recovered files she had lost years ago. I was given an escalated ticket to fix a customer's Wi-Fi not connecting to our hidden network. She brought her laptop to me complaining that the first tier of technical support messed up her machine more, and now she couldn't even connect via Cat5 Ethernet cable. I tried everything and still couldn't fix her issue. I ended up replacing her device and had to transfer her data to her replacement device. During this process I found pictures of myself, some from Facebook, and of me at work sitting at my desk. The weird is this lady always treats me mean. I showed it to my co-workers and they all said stalker alert. I gave her the replacement machine back she specifically asked. I hope you didn't forget to transfer my pictures. Double quote. This happened about a year ago. About 15 years ago, when working at my dad's computer repair shop, we were given a PC to fix that had a broken CD-ROM drive. It looked perfectly okay and appeared to function, except that it wouldn't read discs. Oh. And half of a crushed CD was sticking out of the back of the damned drive. Somehow, the owner had put a CD in, and then when he went to pop it out, after it wouldn't read, discovered the disc wasn't there. So thinking he'd just done a stupid and forgot to put it in, put another disc in and heard the KKK noise as the new disc forced the old one out of the back. I still have no idea how that worked, or what mechanical failure could have caused it. But damn if it wasn't the absolute weirdest thing I've ever seen. Worked at Geek Squad for 5 years. While I didn't go through personal folders, as we have no business in there unless specifically asked. A lot of people would have very graphic wallpapers on their laptops. I got a lot of stories of weird shit I've seen on computers. And weird shit that has happened in the 5 years working there. Weirdest I've seen is a dude came in saying his PC was running slow and it probably came from when he was watching porn. 75% of the work there is viruses from shady porn sites. Please stick to Pornhub. I open his laptop, have him sign in, and bam. Wallpaper is a dude sitting on a Game of Thrones-esque chair, with a dude on his tool, and another guy on the 3 guys tool. Picture human centipede with 3 guys on one huge chair throne stacked. Probably the weirdest creative, but not the worst. Other than the PCs that had cockroaches and spiders in them, there's one that comes to mind. A lifetime ago, around 2006, when I was working for a big box retailer PC repair department, there was a middle-aged man who came in with a tower that had a disc jammed in the DVD drive. This was one of those insertion-style optical drives, not tray-based, so no paperclip release to use. One of my co-workers starts fiddling around with the drive in an effort to free whatever is inside. While this is going on, the customer starts to get nervous and says that he'll just leave the PC with us and we can throw away whatever is in the drive. Naturally, we have to check it in, and during the check-in process, my co-workers nearly has the disc out, which puts the gentleman even further on edge and he reiterates throw away whatever is in the drive. The unit gets checked in. The customer leaves. Now, before I go further, I should state that this is a family man. His desktop background is himself with his wife and several kids. Anyhow, we managed to get the DVD loose from the optical drive and this, probably NSFW. But I saw it at work. Lovely DVD rolls out. Guess someone had a secret he was keeping from his family. Unfortunately, since we didn't have in writing that we could dispose of the disc, we had to return it to him. I wasn't there to see how that went down : Friend of my old dealer found out I could fix computers. He went to his old shed and found this E-machine from 2001 that had been sitting in the rain for years. The rust was so bad I couldn't remove a single component nor remove the case. He thought we could have just cleaned off the rust and it'd work fine. He gave me some wee duffel looking. A detailed record of basically a bunch of benign social experiments that the client had been doing. They dated all the way back to the 90s. And varied from detailed study of pickup lines to entering a bar wearing a unicorn costume. It wasn't especially creepy. It wasn't ducked up or anything like I'm sure some of the examples will be. It was just a little odd. Melted his laptop. Literally melted. I was doing contracted, and I get sent out to one of our clients' companies. It was right after a big storm and the manager there had been having issues with the computer after the roof leaked in his office directly over his desk. He didn't specify what the problem was over the phone, but as he was walking me back he mentioned that he left it in front of a hairdryer to try and dry it off. I get into the office. The guy had an industrial heat gun pointed directly at the center of the keyboard, which was now completely melted. I have a very hard time telling people no, but there was nothing I could do about that. Don't think I ever went back to that site. I got a laptop that was being decommissioned at my old job, and noticed that there was a disc. I thought it was going to be porn on a company laptop. Nope. The soundtrack to Forrest Gump.